Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Oner Podcast, the podcast where we break down and review films all in one big, long, unbroken take. I'm Austin Archer, and with me, as always, is my lifelong childhood next door neighbor, lifelong best friend,
Grammar England.
Sometimes I flub it, you know.
That's okay. Yeah.
I'm always happy with how trippingly it rolls.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it works. You came up with it. And it works amazing. It's just lifelong neighbor, and that's lifelong best friend. But no worries, we could be both, I guess. Technically,
we've lived next door to each other our entire lives.
Yep. For our life, it's we're
right now. It's emotional next door neighbors and spiritual next door neighbors.
Yep.
And when we were boys, we were literal next door neighbors.
Yep.
Okay, we just released a video where we were giving you our favorite films of 2025 and our bottom worst films of 2025, 5 films that we thought maybe you missed or overlooked. Go watch that video if you want to see the full thing. But I did want to bring up the fact that, like, first of all, you called me out on in my top 5 worst was Craven at number 2. And I swore that I could have sworn that Craven, that we watched that in February of this last year. Did we not?
It was December.
It was okay.
Yeah.
Did we watch it in December, or did we watch it?
We did. It came out December 13th, and we watched it, I believe.
In my brain, it's just like that movie has no business coming out in December. Like, it's such a January, February movie.
Why did they release it in December? Like, what?
Yeah,
it doesn't really make any sense. But
whatever. It stands. It's terrible. And
that's how bad it is. It bled into 2025.
Yeah, but then also your number 1 film of 2025 was Better Man, which I also thought was a 2024 film, but it did the little overlap thing of like limited release for award season and then wide release in 25. So
technically the wide release was in 2025. That's why I gave it the number 1 spot. And it was the last movie I got to see with my wife, just her and I together. Because our daughter now, because she has type 1 diabetes, it's hard to leave her alone with someone else who doesn't know how to take care of her yet. So anyway, so that was, but I also just love that movie. And that was my number 1 for, movies that people haven't seen. Like, go see the movie. It's a good one.
Oh, I was going to say, like, if I had realized that it qualified for 25, I would have totally put it on my list of overlooked films, because it's crazy how many people didn't bother even going. Either they don't know who Robbie Williams is, which is a big American thing, or even if they did know, they were like, what is this weird monkey movie? But I just wish more people who, like, hey, if you're tired of the tropes of the biopic formula, go watch Better Man. Like, I always reference Better Man when I talk about the way that modern movie musicals are directed, and I talk about the way that, like, all of the things that Michael Gacy gets right, or Gracie gets right, in that film. And that sequence in the middle of the movie, the rock DJ sequence, is just like,
oh, it's so awesome.
It's insane.
So much fun. I liked that you brought Sorry Baby, which I have not seen, but I remember seeing the trailer and thinking that looks really good. So it's good to hear that you saw it and you thought it was really good. You have some that I didn't even know about, which I need to look them up and watch them for sure.
I like to think that because I talked about movies that I didn't see, that I was like, hey, if you feel like, why didn't you mention this movie? There's several that we didn't see. And then we also did, like, movies that, but I like to think that both of our lists are unique, because I've looked at a lot of top 10 lists on YouTube and all these other movie shows putting out their best ofs and worst ofs, and like, everybody's got the same ones. Everybody's talking about One Battle After Another. Everybody's talking about Hamnet. Everybody's talking about Sentimental Value. Everybody's talking about No Other Choice. Everybody's talking about It Was Just an Accident. Everybody's talking about Sinners. Everybody's talking about Weapons. And I'm not saying I didn't mention those films.
I did as well.
Yeah, those films come up. But I think that we had some unique picks. And I also think that we were brave to say, you know what? I don't care what you think. I'm putting Predator Badlands on my list.
Exactly. Okay? And that's the thing that bothers me. Like, these movies that are going to be up for the awards, they are good movies. And I'm not saying that they're not good movies. I enjoyed them. Hamnet was amazing. It's just really, really heavy. And it's okay to like the movie. Like the majority of the movies that I put on my list were ones that I just had fun in the theater with, right?
Yeah.
Or it touched me emotionally in a different way than some of the others, right? And it just, those are the movies that really keep movies going. Like
Yeah.
that's what keeps the industry going. And those are the movies that get people into movies. And then when you get into movies, you start to see these other smaller movies that have a different message that are really great in their own way, but they're not keeping the business alive. I mean, One Battle After Another is awesome. It did not make enough money to justify its budget just from a financial perspective, but it's still a great movie. So you go and see these movies and it'll open the door for these other movies that can do other things. So, but I really loved the movies that were on our lists. They're
Oh,
just a good time.
well, and that's so much of what comprised my honorable mentions, and my top
Yeah,
list was just like, what is my experience like in the theater, and
exactly.
what were my most memorable experiences? Like, Presence was number 5 on my list
Yeah, yeah,
because I called you right afterward, and I was like, you got to go see this movie. The ending knocked me out. Like,
yeah,
it's one of those endings that we talk about all the time, where like a great ending can recontextualize the rest of the film. Like, it can take a movie that you're kind of lukewarm on, and
yeah,
then a great ending,
yeah.
you can go, whoa, that changes everything.
I literally, as you're saying that, I am having the chills thinking
Yeah.
about the ending of Presence, and that's how much it affected me. Like
Yeah.
it really just like, oh my gosh. It's one of those movies that like you said, the ending recontextualized, but it makes the whole movie better.
Yeah.
Just like it's like a perfect ending, right? That's what
Yeah.
you want for all of your movies, or at least for that type of movie.
And I went back and forth about putting Wake Up Dead Man in my top
Yeah,
5,
yeah,
because that's another one of those movies where I went and rewatched that whole trilogy, and it's
yeah.
like they're just such rewatchable films. But I
Oh
watched
yeah.
Wake Up Dead Man like the second time, like maybe a week after I saw it the first time,
Mhm.
and the amount of stuff I saw on the
Oh,
second
nice,
watch that I
nice.
didn't see the first time, the amount of like playing in my face Ryan Johnson was doing, I loved it. I just was like, "Oh boy, you're really putting that right in front of me, aren't you?" And I just had no
That's good.
idea, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
And so that's just that's awesome. And
That
I don't
is
know.
awesome.
Yeah, I think that, yeah, what I stuck with was, and what I think we both stuck with was like, regardless of what the popular opinion is, because both of us had Avatar in our worst 5 movies of the year,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
we know that that is an unpopular opinion.
Yes,
We
it is.
know
Yes.
that we are in the minority there, but it just, for us, it's like, what is my experience, regardless of the
Yeah.
box office, regardless of the critical score on Rotten Tomatoes, regardless of what we think is going to win the awards, what was
Yeah.
my experience in the theater? And my number 1 film of the year is a movie that I just, it was it was my best movie going
Yeah.
theater experience of the year, which
Yeah.
I imagine was for you with Better Man.
Exactly. Yeah, and I'm glad you put Superman on there because I
Yeah.
know how much you loved it. That's what movies are all about.
I think
Whatever
it's
you
funny
love.
that my number 1 movie was Superman and your
Yeah.
number 1 movie was Better Man.
Ah, yes. It's the
Like, I'm like,
man's.
I like the Superman, you're like, "Well, mine's better." So, actually, mine's the Better Man.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
best man, Better
Better
Man.
man.
Superman, Better Man.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, if you want to hear our more of our detailed thoughts on our lists and the other movies that we talked about and why we picked those films, go check that out on the channel right now and linked in the description of this video. But
Yeah,
today we are talking about, we did this last year. We did
yeah,
our predictions for the biggest films of 2025. And, you know, when we would go to those films, when they would come out, we could be like, we could reference this list, and we're doing it again this year. This is our prediction for the biggest films, the biggest releases of 2026. I mean, not all of them, obviously, but like a pretty good list here of some of the biggest most anticipated films, biggest films coming out this year. And this really is like the the bill for 2026 is kind of insane. It's
mhm.
crazy
Yep.
how many like big time movies are coming out this year. So I think we should just get right into it. We got a
Yeah,
lot
let's
to
go
get
for it.
through.
Yeah, yeah.
Starting right off, we have 28 years later, The Bone Temple,
Yes.
the sequel to the fourquel or threequel.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I guess this is a new trilogy.
Yeah.
What are your predictions for Bone Temple?
My prediction for the Bone Temple, I think it's going to be better than the previous movie. Just because I think we kind of know what to expect now, especially with Jimmy. I think Jimmy's going to be I'm very interested to see what they do with Jimmy. I think I mean, there's going to be some high caliber acting from Ray Fiennes. And I'm very excited to see it. So I think it's actually going to be a better movie. Not that the last one was bad. I think it's just going to be better, and I think it's going to do better at the box office.
Yeah, I think that 28 years later had maybe the weirdest ending of any
Yes.
film in 2025. If we
Yes.
talk about endings, and
Yeah.
like it was a very talked about ending because people were like, really like that movie, and then the most bizarre tone shift ever for the
Yeah.
last 5 minutes of the film. And
Mhm.
my prediction is obviously that I do believe we're going to get deeper into that tone and that
Mhm.
world. I think the Bone Temple, what I would like to see from it, what I'm hoping to see is that it gets weirder. Like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
want them to go deeper into that, and it kind of feels like it will. And I
Mhm.
agree with you. I expect another great performance from Ray Fiennes. I
Yep.
expect him to be a standout. I hope the Jimmy stuff works. I also feel like we might be going around in time in a sort of weird way here
Mhm.
because of stuff that happened in 28 years later. And now this is, we might be playing with time in some kind of
Mhm.
non-linear way. I'm not sure.
Interesting,
But,
yes.
but I agree with you. I think that like, even with the weird ending, I think the people who saw 28 years later are going to want to see the follow-up. They're going to want to
Yeah.
follow this trilogy.
Yeah.
And this, I think this second film will determine like whether or not, as it is with trilogies, it's kind of like, cool, if you like the first film enough to come back for the second one, the second one's going to determine like, are you in or not, you
Yeah.
know? And
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Yeah, and I think they have I can't remember this, but I think they have confirmed that they are going to make the third one, because they
Yeah.
were waiting, and then, like, I think it seems like the executives were really happy with what they've got. So the third one is when Cillian Murphy is gonna come back. I think he's gonna be in the second one. I think he's just gonna be at the very end, almost like a Jimmy, uh,
Yeah.
cameo. I think it's gonna kinda show what the third one will be. So I'm excited, and we're gonna be seeing this in, like, 2 weeks anyway, so I'm
Yep.
excited.
Yeah, coming up soon.
Yeah.
After that is a movie that I'm very excited for. This is Project Hail Mary,
Yes.
and Ryan Gosling. I know very little about this movie other than that I really liked I was very intrigued by the trailer, and
Yes.
everyone that I know that's read the book tells me it's amazing.
Yep.
So, what are your predictions here?
My prediction is, and I agree, everybody who's read the book that I've talked to has loved it. I loved The Martian, which was the same author, and The Martian was just so much fun. Such a great movie for Ridley Scott. Like, that was seemed to be his, not really his comeback, but it's probably been the best movie of his in a long time, right?
Yeah.
So I think this movie is going to be a big hit. And I don't know what else to predict other than, like, I think everybody's going to love it. And I really want it to do really, really well. And I really am excited to see Lord and Miller back in an live action movie.
Mhm.
Because I think the last movie that they directed was Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, or I can't, the first animated Spider-Man, you know. And so I'm excited for them to get back to live action.
Yeah, things don't always translate from just because the book was good doesn't mean the movie's
Yeah,
gonna be
yeah,
good, but I think you've got a solid enough team here that they should be able to pull this off. I'm pulling for this movie. I
yes,
really, really wanna like this movie. I
yeah,
wanna know as little about it as possible going in. I don't like, a lot of people are telling me how good the book is, and I'm like, I kinda wanna just experience the story
hmm
fresh without knowing anything. Um, my prediction is, like, if it does hit the way that we want it to, then it could be like a really big runaway hit at the
hmm
box office. But if it's sort of like lukewarm, then this could be a movie that dies in a couple weeks. Like it could just be like one of those things that it's like, that didn't quite
yeah.
um work out. And by the way, I was going to say another great Ridley Scott movie that is completely overlooked from like the last 5 or 6 years is The Last Duel. Great
Oh
movie.
yeah, I need to see that. I still haven't seen it.
Fantastic movie. So yeah,
Awesome.
another solid Ridley Scott. Okay, so that's Project Hail Mary. Then we go to April and we've got Michael. I
Yes.
saw this on the list and I was like, is this a remake of that John Travolta movie from the
Where he's an
90s?
angel. Yeah, the
Yeah.
archangel. Yeah.
That Andy McDowell and John Travolta angel
I
movie.
feel like we could have seen that as a neighborhood. Like
I
I
we
swear, we probably saw that with everybody in the neighborhood.
we might have gone to see the John Travolta
Yeah.
angel movie. And if
Yeah.
I remember correctly, it's kind of a weird movie.
Yeah,
Uh
it was. I don't think it did very well, and I don't think many people liked it.
yeah, there were a lot of like weird films in the 90s about like
Yeah.
faith in a sort of supernatural weird like
Yeah.
fairy tale way, like Powder and Phenomenon and
Yeah.
uh,
Phenomenon, which also has
also
John Travolta.
John Travolta. Anyway, Michael is actually the much anticipated biopic about Michael Jackson from Antoine Fuqua.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts here about this one?
Okay, so this movie is supposed to be in two parts, and they I think they've had some trouble with the production. Not that doesn't mean that it's going to be a bad movie. It just means that I mean, there's a million different things that could go wrong on a set. Obviously, Austin, but it's just so they had some trouble. So they have to have this be good enough to justify the sequel. I think it's going to be good enough to justify the sequel. I think it's going to be divisive though. I mean, I still don't know if everybody fully is okay with Michael Jackson. So I think it's going to be very divisive.
That's my thought as well. My feeling is that this is going to be a biopic that's not particularly courageous or brave, not just in the choice of whether or not they're going to try to deal with the subject matter that they're
Yeah.
almost certainly not going to deal with, but
Yes.
also like I don't think that it's going to be innovative like Better Man
Yeah.
or do something different like focusing on one specific aspect of his life, like a complete unknown or this Bruce Springsteen movie that came out
Mhm.
last year. Like I feel like this is going to be a very formulaic by the numbers biopic where it's like,
Yep.
let's take you through the entire life and times of Michael Jackson. And it's going to be like a greatest hits tour. And it's just going to be sort of like song to song to song and like era to era and album to album and great performance to great performance with like maybe a little bit of family drama mixed in
Yeah.
between and some drama with the labels and maybe like a scene with him and Quincy Jones where Quincy's like, you listen to me, you've got a gift, kid, and like i
Yeah.
i just I feel like you're absolutely right. I don't think there's any way around this movie not being controversial and
Yes.
divisive.
Yeah.
For the people who like it, there's a very strong chance that the central performance could be very compelling and good, and that
Yes.
there might be some sequences where, regardless of how you feel about Michael Jackson's personal life, you could still get caught up in just the enormity of the man as a
Yeah.
performer and an
Yeah.
entertainer and the impact that he had and I could see myself getting wrapped up
Oh
in like
yeah. Yeah.
sequences if they're handled right.
I think
But
and I think you're spot on because I think you're totally right in everything you said. And I think they're going to focus on his family situation and the family trauma more than anything else. Like it's probably and which is going to endear us to the character and because I mean he did have a horrible childhood,
sure.
right? Like so I think that's the way I think they're going to play it safe and do that.
Yeah, and ultimately, like, frankly, I get it. It's kind of like you
Yeah.
can't make a biopic about this guy where you're trying to like honor his legacy
Yeah.
and talk about the thing that they're not going to talk about.
Yeah.
But my personal feeling is like, then you shouldn't make the movie because
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't think it's I don't I personally disagree with like the choice ethically to make a movie about a guy like that and then be like, we're just going to pretend that didn't happen. It's like, well,
Mhm.
I don't think you can do that. So I feel like I'm gonna like we'll probably go watch it for this
We probably
channel,
will, yeah.
but I my feeling is that I'm probably gonna be like kind of grossed out by like their refusal
Yeah.
to deal with the thing.
Yeah.
And and again, there might be sequences that are because I think regardless of what your personal feelings are, everybody can. He's one of those like people who everyone's like separating the art from the artist to
Yes.
the extent that everyone's like the music is the music and the performances are kind of otherworldly, and there's
Yeah.
something about it that's like so unique and special, and but
Yeah.
the darkness is dark, and I don't think that it's going to show up in the story.
Yeah.
And yeah, so
I agree.
yeah. Up next is The Mandalorian and Grogu. What are your thoughts on this?
This is an interesting one because I loved The Mandalorian at seasons 1 and 2. I thought it was amazing. Season 3 and Boba Fett was like, what? It was very weird. It's very weird. I know we could. I'm sure we could talk about that for a while. We'll skip past it, but my prediction is that this is going to do better financially than Solo, which is not going to be very hard, even though Solo is actually a pretty good movie. A conversation for another time.
I like Solo.
Yeah. I think there's good in it, but it
Donald Glover
problems.
Donald Glover is worth every moment of that movie.
Absolutely. I love Donald Glover. So I think it's going to do better financially than Solo, but I don't think it's going to be as good as Rogue One. Like as far as a Star Wars movie that's not about Luke Skywalker and all of that. So I think it'll probably fall somewhere lower than that. So
I mean, I agree with you that I think box office wise, it could outperform Solo. It could even outperform Rogue One box office wise. I don't think it'll be a better movie than either of those films. I think
interesting.
I personally, I'm not a huge Mandalorian fan.
Okay.
The Mandalorian as a series to me is like, it's just like watching someone play a video game. That's like a cool Star Wars video game, but every episode is just like, he shows up at a place and talks to someone and he's like, hey, I'm looking for this. And they're like, well, maybe you can help me out. I need help like getting
side quest. It's a side quest.
And that's the whole show. And I get that like the format of the show. I get what they were doing when they made what Jon Favreau was doing with the concept of like, this is gonna be like a serialized Western from when I was a kid, the Westerns that were on TV, and it was like a quest of the week show. And I like that. I think it's a fun little marriage of like Star Wars with like the, and because Lucas was doing a riff on spaghetti Westerns anyways in the 70s when he made the first one. But ultimately it was a format that I thought wore thin after a few seasons because every episode just felt the same. And it just didn't really feel like the show had enough narratively to justify its existence. And the second I saw the trailer for the Mandalorian and Grogu, first of all, I thought this looks like a TV show. It doesn't look like a movie. And second of all, it has an awful title. And then third of all, I just was like, I don't see how they're going to make like to me the stuff obviously for my taste that is speaking to me in the Star Wars expanded cinematic universe is like the Tony Gilroy stuff, Andor and Rogue One, and the stuff that like takes the material a little more seriously. And so I feel like the Mandalorian and Grogu is not going to be for me, but fans of the Mandalorian are going to probably really, really enjoy the film. And I'm going to do my best to enjoy it.
I want it to be fun. So, but we'll see. Yeah, we'll see.
Up next is a film that this is like might be on this list, one of my most anticipated, and this is Disclosure Day from Steven Spielberg. He's back in his sci-fi bag, and this trailer got me going. What are your thoughts on Disclosure Day?
I think that this is going to be a big Spielberg blockbuster that we haven't had in a long time. I mean, the last big one that he did was Ready Player One, but that is kind of it's hard because Ready Player One is just it's not riffing on all of the blockbusters that he made famous, but it has so much influence from him in the first place that it's kind of hard. It's like, okay, I really liked Ready Player One. I thought it was a really fun movie. but it's not one of Spielberg's best. I think this is going to be a big blockbuster. I want it to be a big blockbuster. And I think this is going to kind of introduce younger audiences to what Spielberg can actually do. And maybe this is more of like a wish list because I want this to be big and I want this to be really, really good and really fun. But that's kind of my prediction, is that the younger kids are going to be like, oh, that's why Spielberg's good. Like, that's what he can, kind of return to form of being like a popcorn blockbuster movie that will also be very good.
Well, and it occurs to me that there's a chance that this might be one of the last big sci-fi epics we get from this
Yeah.
filmmaker. Like
Yes.
we just don't know how many more years we're going to be getting
No.
films like this from Steven Spielberg,
Mm-hmm.
and how many more years he's going to be interested or have the energy to make a big film like this. I think that the moment for this film is really interesting because like there's this popular documentary out right now called Disclosure, The Age of Disclosure.
Right.
That's all, that's all about like it's all these like high ranking politicians and like Marco Rubio and like these people that are just like, oh yeah, yeah, yep, UAPs are real and like all this stuff in there. And there's a lot that can be said about the documentary of like, well, why are you guys making this? And what are you trying to like distract from or whatever? But it's interesting nonetheless. It's fun viewing. And this is like Spielberg has operated in every genre there is to operate in. He can do it all, but he really is like, I think at his most Spielberg when he's doing sci-fi. Like when you watch Close Encounters or E.T. or even the movie that we covered last year, War of the Worlds, or Minority Report.
The 2005 one, not the 2025 one.
The 2005 one, Minority Report.
Yeah. He does really well with that genre.
And this trailer, like I like how little I know, and what little pieces I do get, I just was like, oh yeah, we're back, baby. And it's David Koepp, who wrote the screenplay to Jurassic Park and Presence, one of my favorite films of 2025.
And Black Bag. He did Black Bag as well. Yeah.
Black Bag. And so this is a really nice team up here. And I'm hoping that like it's not that thing of like, oh, Scorsese's doing a big like mob epic with Joe Pesci and it's just sort of like it's kind of boring, like old man bad pacing film where it's like, you forgot how to do it, but I'm hoping we get one. I like what I would really love is that we get like one last great ride,
Yes, I would, because when Spielberg is on, there's nobody better. Like there's a reason why everyone compares things to him. There's a reason why he has ruined some genres, because he's made the best film in those genres. Like there is no shark movie that will ever exist that is not compared to Jaws. There's really no adventure movie that's going to exist that's not compared to Indiana Jones. Like
there is only one franchise of dinosaur movies. Jurassic Park took over the genre of like, if you're gonna make a dinosaur movie, it has to be in this world.
That's how good he is. And also like even modern war movies, like Saving Private Ryan. Oh, is it like Saving Private Ryan? Like he just kind of does that with certain genres. Like you have to compare it to the movies that he has made, because he is the pinnacle of those genres, which is crazy to me.
So here he comes again. I'm excited.
Me too.
Okay, this is one that's like, this is Toy Story 5.
Yes.
This is a long-standing franchise. We're going on like 32 years here. With the 5th installment. And what do you think about Toy Story 5?
As a quick aside, I wish they really just would have stopped at 3.
Me too.
And then I wish they would have done like, they had these like cool little shorts of like, and you'd check in on the, on the toys, and they'd have fun little shorts. And then they had like a Christmas special and they had a Halloween special that I was like, oh, this is the perfect way to continue to see Toy Story. Just these cute little shorts that like we get to check in on the characters, and they're fun and they're really well made. And then they made Toy Story 4, and it's not bad, but it's just so much less than the other three to me that I feel like, okay, Toy Story 5, I'm excited because Conan O'Brien's in it. Love Conan O'Brien. And it's also Andrew Stanton, who is from the original group. So I think it's going to be better than 4, but I don't think it's going to be anywhere near 3 or 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. 4 to me is it's like I don't even really remember what 4 is about. I know that they're at a
Yeah.
carnival and stuff,
Yeah.
and like I know like but I just am like I don't even know what the story is because 1, 2, and 3 tell this really beautiful
Mhm.
trilogy story. This really and 1, 2, and 3 are really the story of Andy growing up
Yeah.
and the story culminating and ending with him setting his toys down and heading off into adulthood.
Mhm.
And we, especially you and me,
Yeah.
like grew up step for step with Andy.
Yeah.
And so when he set his toys down at the end of Toy Story 3, we were like the age too that we were like,
Oh,
and it's
yeah. I
like,
was crying, man. It made me
yeah.
cry. It's
And
so
so
sad.
when they came back for 4, the question was like, okay, well, how are they going to justify this? And then you watch it and it's like, they just didn't really. They just were like, "How about another one?" You know?
Yeah. It's
And and it's like it's fine, and I kind of feel like that's how this one's gonna be, where, like, will
yeah.
there be moments that are good? Sure. Will there be new characters and cameos that are funny and clever? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Will there be some, like, really stunning, great animation? Like, of course. Like, will it be nice to see our old pals up on the screen again? Why not?
Yeah.
Is it going to be like something that really justifies its existence as like you get why we had to make this?
Mhm.
No, you're gonna watch it and go, they made this because they knew they could make money if they made another
Yeah.
Toy Story, and because they backed up a Brinks truck full of cash to Tom Hanks and Tim Allen's houses and
Mhm.
said, come to the studio and make one more.
Let's make another one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's gonna be fine.
Mhm.
Um, okay, this is one where like really could go either way here. And I got high hopes. Supergirl.
Yes.
How do you feel?
Supergirl is I this movie I think is going to be really really important for the new DCU. And I think it's going to fit in very well. I mean, I've got to say it looks very much like Guardians of the Galaxy. Um but it's not James Gunn. It's Dan Gillespie, right? I think is his name, Dan Gillespie. Uh he's the director. I think it does look interesting. I think it could be really good. But I'm kind of lost on this one because I really don't know. I think that it will be good enough for sure to keep the DCU going and to keep it where it needs to be and not like ruin things kind of like the DCEU did. You know, the movies after Man of Steel kind of were all over the place. I think it's going to be very consistent with the new direction that they're going. And I think it's going to fit in. So I think the DCU is pretty safe with this movie. And I don't mean that it's going to be a safe movie. I think it will be good, but I don't know. I'm not like excited or not excited about it. I'm kind of keeping my options open, I guess.
Yeah, Craig Gillespie is who's
Thank you,
yeah.
Craig Gillespie. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's kind of like what we were saying with the Bone Temple, where it's like, well,
Mhm.
this is going to be the movie that tells people whether or not they're in, whether
Yeah.
or not
Yeah.
like they're on board, because it's kind of like Man of Steel was great, and then Batman vs Superman was like, okay, here we go. Like,
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
are we doing this? And then Batman vs Superman, I was like, all right, okay, like
This
you
is what
know,
it is. Okay.
yeah, and then from there on out, it just felt like the studio was trying to course correct for just like the rest of the time.
Yes. I think
Uh,
that's a great I don't think they're gonna course correct after this. So that's anyway.
yeah, and I mean, like I said, this could go either way because I really don't know. I love already just some of the early marketing. I think it's
Yeah.
got a solid enough trailer, but I
Yes.
really liked like when I saw the first poster and it was the Superman poster, but like crossed out the Superman poster that said look
Yeah.
up, and look up was crossed out and spray painted onto it was look out.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
thought that's
Yeah.
that's and I like immediately that they're like Superman was this movie that was just had so much heart and
Yeah.
had so much, it was so like unabashedly optimistic
Mhm.
and positive, and I hope that we get I mean, obviously we're gonna get kind of the James Gunn shticky comedy
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
but I'm hoping that we take a big stylistic swing somewhere else. But mostly, I guess, more than anything, it's just like I just want a good movie. I don't
Yeah.
really care. I
Yeah.
don't really care like what the style is. I'm just like, don't like. I hope the DCU isn't derailed by movie two, where it's just like, oh gosh, like I'm just hoping for like another solid entry that promises a wider world that could be interesting. Where like like eventually how does Batman, how does the Flash, how does Martian
Mhm.
Manhunter, how do these other characters fit into this?
Yeah.
And like we've got Clayface coming out this next year too that
Yeah.
we're not going to talk about today, but like
No.
there's but this is the big one that I think is going to determine like
Yeah.
is this new vision going to work? And frankly, whether this movie is good or not, it's not going to change how I feel about Superman.
Yeah.
But I would like them to I would like it to continue working for me. I'm
Mhm.
hopeful,
Yeah, I do want it to work as well. Yeah.
and I think that it will probably make less money than Superman at the box office just because
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
audiences are going to be skeptical and it's going to be a
Yeah.
harder sell,
Yeah, I
you know.
agree. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Next up, I mean this might be the biggest film of the year. This is Christopher Nolan's back with The Odyssey.
Yes.
And I genuinely don't know how to feel, but what are your thoughts on The Odyssey?
I'm super excited. You know I love Christopher Nolan.
Mhm.
I a huge fan of his. I think it could be the biggest film of the year, especially if it's PG-13. If it's rated R, I mean it's surprising how much Oppenheimer made while still being a rated R movie. But if this is PG-13, it'll probably be, which I think it will be. I think it could very well be the biggest movie of the year. But my prediction is that it's going to, I'm going to say, redefine the genre, because Christopher Nolan likes to do things very grounded, right? Which I really like. So the superhero movie, with Batman Begins, he made like, this is what like a realistic superhero movie would look like. And I know it's not realistic, but it's like as close to real as you can get, right? And then he does a time travel movie in Tenet. And even though Tenet is not one of my favorites, it's amazing what he does in making a time travel movie work in the real world.
Well, and
Whereas,
also like a spy and espionage thriller,
yes,
like a
yeah. And so he includes it, and it's like, this is how we could realistically travel in time if we reverse our entropy, right?
Mhm.
Like, so you have to go one for one, which I just found extremely interesting. Even if the movie itself was a little, a little convoluted, I still really like that movie. I think this is going to kind of redo that with like kind of it's not really fantasy. It's a little more sword and sandal type movie. But I mean, there are fantastical elements in there. There's giants, there's witches. It's going to be really interesting to see what he does with that. And I think he's going to make it much more realistic. And I think he's going to pull it off and make an extremely entertaining movie.
Yeah. I like I know well enough to not bet against Christopher Nolan ever.
Right.
You go through his filmography so far, and it's like he's never made a bad movie. He's made
Right.
movies that I like less than other films of his, but
Right.
he's made a lot of movies, and he's never made a bad one.
Right.
And so I would be shocked if I went and saw the Odyssey and was like, "Whoa, what a misfire! Like what a stinker!"
Yeah.
And I guess the thing I'm curious about as a Christopher Nolan fan and as a movie fan is like, what is it about the Odyssey that made Christopher Nolan think this needs to be my next project? Because
Yes.
he's always got something that's like pulling him or drawing him to like he was definitely he had something he wanted to say with Oppenheimer, and
Mhm.
that was an area where he hadn't really been, like a biopic, a historical biopic, a drama, and we hadn't really seen that from him, but he had something on his mind that he wanted to talk about. And
Mhm.
even with, Dunkirk, it's like this is sort of like a different area for him that it's like, okay. And I think he just was interested in like the storytelling format and the approach. I think he had this idea of like the playing with time with that.
Mhm.
And I'm just curious, like, what is it about? Is it just that he's like the biggest director in the filmmaking world right now, and he's just like, well, what's the biggest story I can tell? And he's like, and what's the, what like,
Yeah.
it's either this or the Bible. Like it's either like, like what I'm, and I just am curious, like what is why does he feel like this is a good fit for him and for his style and I like how little I know from the marketing, like, and I like how little we need to know as audience members, that we're just like, I'll see you there.
Yeah.
Christopher Nolan, The Odyssey, see you there. Like,
Yep.
I don't need, like, and I'm hoping that there's like fantastical elements to it. I'm
Oh yeah.
hoping that, but I also am just like, I'm just along for the ride. And
Yeah.
like I said, I will be shocked if it's not at the very least a pretty good movie.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it has the chance to be like a really great film from him, but we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. It will be out of sequence as well. That'll be a prediction that I'll make.
Yeah,
like all of his movies.
It will be edited to be playing with time.
Yes, that's exactly right. Yep.
In some way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So after that, we have Spider-Man Brand New Day. Okay, we're back with Tom Holland in the MCU that will never end. And what is your prediction for Spider-Man?
Okay, this is my most optimistic prediction. I feel like I'm predicting this because this is what I want. I want this to be the best Spider-Man movie ever. And the reason I say that, and I think that it could be, is because it's directed by Destin Daniel Creighton, I believe is his name, who did Shang-Chi, which the first 2/3 of that movie is awesome.
Yeah.
And then the ending was like just like a CGI heavy thing. But the first two, I love that movie. So he's doing Spider-Man. The Homecoming and all the Home trilogy. I loved that. I thought it was really, really fun. I think Tom Holland is like the best Spider-Man. I just love him. He just kind of is that character and has done such a good job with it. But those 3 films could never really do what Spider-Man does, which is he's in New York. He's fighting, he's swinging, he's doing all that stuff. And I think that's what this movie is going to be. It's like the Spider-Man that we know so well. So I think it's going to be that. So I think there's going to be really cool action sequences. I think it's going to be really fun. I want it to be really good. I want it to be action-packed. I want him to swing through New York and have really cool swinging scenes like the Sam Raimi movies, because no one has done it as good as he has ever since.
Yeah,
that's what I want.
It certainly seems like the end of No Way Home was setting that up.
Yep.
But it's like it feels like that trilogy, the Home trilogy, was like it was like the Spider-Man Begins trilogy.
Yes.
And then the end of No Way Home is like, here he is, classic comic book Spider-Man. So it certainly seems like that's where it should be going. I agree with you. I think Tom Holland is the best Spider-Man. I will, for the rest of my life, I'll never understand anyone who thinks Tobey Maguire is the best Spider-Man. I'm like, if you want to
love Tobey Maguire.
If you want to argue for Andrew Garfield, be my guest. Like, I'm like, that's totally fine. That's totally permissible. But Tobey Maguire has no business ever being allowed to be in movies. Like, it's just the most offensive thing to me that like anybody ever decided to give that kid an acting career. Just like, how dare you?
I love Tobey Maguire, but it's more of a nostalgia thing. Because he has some things that I'm like, why do you act that way?
He's terrible. He's unwatchable. Like, he's such a bad but everyone that I talk to that loves him is like, I think it's just because it's nostalgia. And I'm like,
it is.
But if you compare him as an actor to Garfield and Holland, it's like, he's not even in their league. No. He's not even like,
Unfortunately, Garfield had 2 not bad movies, but not nearly as good as the other ones.
The movies aren't great, but he's good in
He is great. Oh yeah, he's great in everything.
Yeah. But I would say that Holland is the most.
Oh yeah.
Because Garfield also just always didn't quite feel like Spider-Man.
He's a little too cool. Yeah.
A little too cool, and he almost always looked a little too old for me too. It was always like, you look kind of 25. And and Tom Holland, like, but same with Tobey Maguire, looks a little too old.
Yes,
and Tom Holland, like, is the first time. It was the first time that you're like, yeah, that kid looks 16.
Yeah,
like that looks like a teenager. And also, he's probably the best actor to ever do this. And
probably,
and so I think that I like what you're shooting for, that it's like,
Yeah.
come on, like it seems like, and I'll make this prediction too, along with you, that like, it's kind of what I said about James Gunn's Superman, which is all of these other different versions of Superman that have existed on film have always been kind of a take on
Mhm.
Superman. Like, well, this is
Mhm.
a specific, what if Superman was doing this, and that's what we've seen so far from Tom Holland Spider-Man, is like, well, what if Spider-Man was in Europe? What if
Mhm.
Spider-Man
Mhm.
had to fight in the multiverse? And I think they have an opportunity to here to just be like, what if just straight up Spider-Man, just
Yeah. Yeah.
like solid, um, and I hope there's no like I hope that there's not too much overcrowding with other MCU characters. I hope Spidey just gets to have like a Spidey adventure,
Yeah.
and it doesn't have to, like, the story doesn't have to be bogged down with whatever the connective tissue of the MCU at that
Yes.
moment is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, yeah, but we'll see.
We'll see.
Okay, this one's interesting. We're going to Digger. This is Iñárritu's new film. Iñárritu like went away for a little bit after like swinging big with Birdman and The Revenant, like boom boom, and
Yeah.
then like kind of disappeared for a little bit.
Yeah. Is that was The Revenant his last film that he
I
made?
think so.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But
Not
yeah, I'm
only, but this collaboration is like with Tom Cruise, first movie post Mission Impossible franchise. And so yeah, what are your thoughts?
my thoughts are that this will this could give Tom Cruise an Oscar nomination.
Yeah.
That's my prediction. I mean, I haven't seen the movie. They have a weird trailer
Mhm.
that I was very interested to see, and it's very unique. It's going to be very interesting. I think no matter what, the movie's going to be very interesting.
Yeah.
Whether that's good or bad, I think it's going to take a huge swing, and I think it could pay off for Tom Cruise. I think he's always been kind of chasing an Oscar, because he's a good actor, as
He's
we've talked
amazing.
about. We've talked about how good he is, and I think this could be his chance. So I'm going to predict that.
I mean, his last two leading men with Michael Keaton and Leo DiCaprio were both nominated. I'm not.
True,
I don't think
true.
Keaton won. I think he
He
won
did
maybe
not.
the Golden Globe, but
Yeah, he didn't win the Oscar. Yeah.
Leo took it home, and so, and it's releasing in October, which is a good slot for awards consideration. So I think you're right, and I'll stick with that as well. I know very little about the film, so I can't really make any predictions. Um, Iñárritu is another filmmaker like Denis Villeneuve, like Christopher Nolan, who like he doesn't really make bad movies, but he also doesn't have like that many films. Like,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
so it's totally possible that this could be a a swing and a miss from him, but I would be surprised with like this feels like something that could be a special collaboration. So I'm hoping for the best,
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't know that we can say much more than that
No,
because we don't really know
most
anything.
yeah, a lot of these movies we don't know now from now on. But anyway,
Greta Gerwig is back with Narnia, the Magician's Nephew. This is weird, just weird filmography, Greta. Like
yes,
weird, just like you make a movie that's like a very personal biopic in Lady Bird.
right.
Then you go to a remake of a film that's been made several times, and you're like, here's my take on it, Little
Yeah, and it's
Women.
amazing.
And
Yeah.
it's great, fantastic. And then you like big left turn pivot to like big IP territory
Yeah.
and pulling off something that like is genuinely impressive. Like what she was able to do,
Yes.
like that movie would have been terrible if anyone else had made it.
I know, yeah. And
And
Oscar-winning movie
yeah,
for song,
and
right? It won for song,
yeah,
so
and now this
yeah.
Narnia. So what are your thoughts?
My thought, I think the movie's gonna be good. I think
Mhm.
Greta Gerwig, you can't really, I think she's just an extremely good filmmaker. She just knows how to tell a story, and she knows how to do it in an interesting way, and she does it in her own style. So I think the movie's gonna be great no matter what. My prediction, though, is that this is going to be the first Warner Brothers movie under Netflix. Now, this is kind of a wild prediction, and I have no idea if this is really going to come true or not. I think the sale of Warner Brothers is going to go through with Netflix, and I think Netflix genuinely wants to release movies in theaters because they're going to make more money that way.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I think they will. I think this whole thing that they're doing with theaters, with Stranger Things and with all these other things, they're giving the money all to the theaters. Like they're not taking any of the money. They can't because of the deals that they made. But I think they're buying Warner Brothers to get in with the movie theaters, and they're going to stop really releasing good movies on Netflix because that's where they go to die. Like they just don't have social clout, right? So I think this is going to be the movie that they say we're going to release Narnia under Warner Brothers, the Warner Brothers label, and we're going to release it theatrically everywhere, right? And the sale maybe could go through at the end of the year of this year. I really don't know. I could be totally off on that. If it doesn't happen with Narnia, though, I think that's what Netflix is going to do. I know that that's kind of a weird Netflix prediction, but I think the movie's going to be great anyway. So
I want you to be right so badly about that. The idea that Netflix wants to get their films in theaters. There are a lot of people that think that what Netflix is actually doing is that they saw the bump that they got during COVID when everyone was stuck at home. And they were like, you know what? If we bought a bunch of the major film studios and we just sort of killed the movie theater industry and everybody had to stay home to watch movies, we could have that same bump back. And I think that's a much more cynical look at it. And I want to believe in your vision, because I just am like, why, guys? Why would you kill the movie theater going experience? And I hope that they're not trying to.
And they can't make money. You spend $200 million on a movie. How do you make that money back, or at least a huge chunk of it back? You put it in theaters.
Yeah.
And you get a big chunk, and then you get people to subscribe after. I think they're not making enough money to justify their existence on that unless they go into theaters. And they've been saying for so long, oh, we don't like theaters, but secretly they're like, no, we got to do this. Because they do that with everything. They're like, oh, we're never gonna crack down on sharing passwords, and then they crack down on sharing passwords. We're never gonna make our own original content, and then they make their own original content. Like I think they're going to get into the theater business, and this is their excuse to do it.
Yeah,
sorry.
Gerwig is bankable, and I agree with you that like I'm not going to bet against her. I think that like it's similar to Nolan. It's like if Christopher Nolan feels there's a reason why he should be making the Odyssey, I'm going to trust him on that. And if Greta Gerwig feels like there's a reason why she should be directing a Narnia film, I'm going to trust her on that and just go, okay, I'll let you tell me why, and I trust you. Okay. This, next to the Odyssey, the next two films on the list are probably like neck and neck for potential best or biggest films box office wise and culturally of the year. But I feel really conflicted about this next one, which is Avengers Doomsday. Okay. So how do you feel about Avengers Doomsday?
Well, it's like I obviously forgot about Avengers Doomsday when I was talking about the Odyssey, because I think this will probably be the biggest film of the year. But it's also had so many other movies. So the Odyssey will be the biggest non-Marvel movie, which I think gives Doomsday a leg up. But Doomsday, I think it's going to make over $2 billion. I think it's going to be a really fun movie. If anything, it'll be entertaining. I don't know if it'll be the highest grossing movie of all time. I think they haven't had enough good buildup where they did with, Endgame. They were able to get that momentum. But I do think it's going to get over $2 billion. And everything that I've seen so far, the Cyclops teaser that they just released, that made me very, very happy.
Yeah.
I'm a big Cyclops guy, and to see him in his suit, taking off his visor and letting the entire, his entire become, I was like, oh, that's for sure the best teaser that they've had. So I'm excited for the movie.
Of the teasers that they've done, the X-Men one is definitely the best with that. But it's because it's like the only one that gives us anything. Like it's yeah. I would say that this is sure, it's probably going to be a massive box office. The reason I feel conflicted about this movie is because unlike Endgame, I just have no idea what we're even doing. With Endgame, it's like going into Infinity War, I knew what was up. Like I knew where we were in the story, and most people did. Most people had been like following along, and by the time Infinity War came out, like we knew where all like that was after Civil War, and so like we were
Mhm.
all locked
Mhm.
into like what was going on in the MCU, and everybody knew like where the pieces were all on the chessboard.
Right.
Infinity War was awesome, and then like the wait for Endgame was like we all knew the stakes. Like Infinity War set up such the ending of Infinity War is such a great ending. It sets
Yes.
up the immediately like, well, I of course I have to come back to,
Mhm.
it's like the end of a great season of television and you're just like, I can't wait for season 2.
Yep.
Like I can't. And my problem with Doomsday is I'm just like, I don't know what we're doing, guys. Like, and nobody
Yeah.
really does. All we all know is that they're like, we're bringing everybody back. And it's like,
Yeah.
okay, cool. Is it going to be like the way it was in Deadpool and Wolverine, which like was fun, but is it just
Mhm.
going to kind of be like, here's a bunch of people?
Yeah.
Or like, do you have something for them? Or is it going to be like Doctor Strange in the multiverse of madness, where it's just like, here's a bunch of people?
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah.
or because I'm just like, I just kind of go like, what are we doing, guys? Like,
Yeah.
because I don't know how any of these films tie together
Yeah.
so
No,
far.
it's I think you're totally right. I think this is, instead of an ending like Endgame was, I think this is going to be a reset of the entire MCU. So it's not an ending, it's a beginning. Like something's going to happen that, like, I mean, they can't just keep bringing back Patrick Stewart and Magneto, right? Ian McKellen. They just can't, like, they can't go on. They need to find somebody else to do
Man,
those
if
characters.
they had any guts whatsoever, they would just kill all these characters and completely reset the map and just be like,
I think they might just get rid of the multiverse. You don't
yeah.
know. Like, it just, you know what? Here's a reset and we're starting over.
But also maybe they're gonna do like an Infinity War thing where like we think it's just Doomsday, but like Doomsday is part one. Because
Yeah.
Infinity War
Yeah.
didn't it's like maybe it's a like there's several because it's so just from the amount of characters they're bringing in, I'm just like, there's just no way
I
you're
know.
gonna fit this all into a
I
3-hour
know.
movie and make it
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
And so I'm curious. I'll be there.
Yep.
I'm excited to see a trailer at some point that actually
Yeah.
it gives me some idea of what's going on. That it makes me go back in the list and go like, Spider-Man Brand New Day is probably going to have a good amount
Something.
to something,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I just am like, it's going to be huge. I have no idea what we're doing.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
know that like everybody's in it. And so,
Yep.
and it's like
Yep.
going to be like the most expensive movie ever made, but whatever.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
Okay, and that brings us to the end of our list, which is Dune 3, Dune Messiah, I
Yep.
believe is the name.
I believe so. Yeah.
And yeah, how do you feel about Dune Messiah?
I'm super excited for the movie.
Yeah.
My prediction is that it's not going to come out in 2026.
Nah.
It's releasing on the same day as Avengers Doomsday. I
Ooh.
think Avengers Doomsday, they're both on December 18th. I guess my prediction is it's not going to come out on December 18th. It could move up, but I'm guessing it's going to move back maybe to like March or April of
Yeah, I would move it.
2027.
I think like May 27 or something.
It's
Yeah.
just seems like it'd be better for a summer movie, right?
Yeah.
And I am super excited for Dune, but my prediction is that we're going to be making another prediction in 2027 about this movie. So, because it's not going to release on the same day. Avengers Endgame has already started marketing. Everybody already knows about it. It's got a countdown on all their trailers, right? Like it's
But
1 year away, so
but
it's not going to release on that same day.
you've got such a good Barbenheimer thing though. You got Doomsday with
Yeah,
an
but
N.
Doomsday,
Doomsday,
yeah,
and people are gonna go Doomsday. They're gonna go Dune and Avengers Doomsday on the same
yeah,
day.
but it's not counter programming. It's the same thing that people want to see.
Yeah,
Barbenheimer, you have two movies that are attracting two separate audiences,
yeah,
right? And like they both kind of want to see them, but you can see them at different times. This is like the same audience.
yeah.
So I think it's got to move. And I think Dune is going to be the one that moves.
I like that prediction. That like we're not actually gonna see Dune.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that there's a good chance that that's right. Like I think it is crazy to have those two films go head to head.
Yeah, yeah.
And like, unfortunately, I think in a head to head, Dune would probably get buried.
I agree.
And they don't necessarily want or need that smoke.
No.
But I love the Dune franchise. I'm
Oh, me
such a
too.
huge fan of the
Love it.
first two films,
Yep.
and I can't wait for the third one. So, and I'm totally like I said at the beginning of this episode, this year is so stacked. I'm totally cool with pushing Dune 3 to
Yeah.
27 because 26 has a lot. And like, 27, in 27, 28, we're probably getting into the territory where we're doing like the Batman part 2 and stuff like
Yeah,
that. And,
yeah.
So yeah, we'll push it to there, but,
Yep.
okay, that's it. What are your predictions? Let us know in the comments. That's the year in a nutshell. There's going to be a lot more than that, obviously, but those are the big ones.
Yep.
Up next, if you want to follow along with the show, we are going to watch Marty Supreme because we kind of missed it back in December, and
we did.
Awards season is happening, and this is a big awards contender, so we want to make sure that we cover it because we also covered the other Safdie brothers movie.
Yep.
We watched Smashing Machine, so we got to watch Marty Supreme. So we're going to go to the theater and see Marty Supreme. Go check that out if you want to watch along with the show. And that's what we'll be doing next week. And we will see you then.
See you then.